For decades, Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and Suzuki owned the motorcycle world. Nobody even came close to touching their dominance. But now, a challenger is forcing the Big Four to respond. CFMOTO recently reported strong growth with double-digit global sales gains and high mid-year earnings, while putting more than $100 million into R&D. Their bikes are packing race-bred tech at half the price of the competition. The 675 SRR does 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.6 seconds with racing-derived engineering that comes straight from their Moto3 championship team. This isn't the old cheap and cheerful Chinese bike. It's a serious value-driven challenger. They're backing race programs, expanding dealers, and investing heavily in R&D, and the numbers and race results back it up. The $100 million secret behind CFMOTO's speed. So, what's the secret behind this sudden leap in performance? Most motorcycle companies throw their cash at flashy TV commercials and MGPT sponsorship deals. They want their logos plastered everywhere, hoping you'll remember their brand when you walk into the dealership. But CFMOTO took a totally different path and dumped over $100 million into something way more important: research and development. Here's what makes their approach different. CFMOTO's Moto3 program has provided racing telemetry that engineers used when developing the 675 SRR and other models. While other budget brands are guessing how to make their bikes handle better, CFMOTO has actual championship-level data telling them exactly what works. That telemetry from their race bikes gets fed directly into street bike development. When their Moto3 bike hits a corner at racing speeds and the sensors record how the suspension compresses and how the chassis flexes, that information becomes the blueprint for their next street bike. Take the 675 SRR's 120-degree crank design as a concrete example. This isn't some marketing gimmick. It's pure race engineering that cuts vibration dramatically compared to traditional 180-degree cranks. The engineers discovered through race data that this specific crank angle creates smoother power delivery and reduces harsh vibrations. CFMOTO's triple produces roughly 66 kilowatts, and the 675 SRR accelerates to 100 kilometers per hour in about 3.6 seconds with a top speed around 220 kilometers per hour. You can actually feel the difference when you twist the throttle. The chassis geometry and suspension tuning aren't guesswork either. They know from track data which compression and rebound settings give the best balance between comfort and performance. Even the engine management systems trace back to real race data from actual championship bikes. They combine their own engineering with lessons from partnerships and racing programs rather than just rebadging others' designs. Here's where it gets really interesting. Most manufacturers separate their racing division from their street bike division. The race guys do their thing, the street bike guys do theirs, and maybe they share notes at the company Christmas party. CFMOTO built their entire development process around direct technology transfer. They say they compress what usually takes years into months. According to their engineers and recent model launches, the link from racing data to production tuning has been unusually direct and fast. This approach changes everything about how affordable bikes perform. Instead of getting a watered-down version of premium technology, you're getting actual race-developed systems packaged for street use. The electronic fuel injection mapping comes from race-proven algorithms. The suspension geometry comes from championship-winning motorcycles. Even the brake system calibration uses data collected from professional riders pushing these bikes to their limits. What makes CFMOTO's $100 million investment different from typical marketing spending is simple. Every dollar goes toward making their bikes genuinely better instead of just making them look better in advertisements. While other companies spend fortunes convincing you their bikes are good, CFMOTO spent their money actually making their bikes good. But here's what really gets interesting about CFMOTO's strategy. All that race-bred engineering is just the foundation. The real surprise comes when you look at what components they're actually putting on these bikes. Premium parts at budget prices. How is this possible? CFMOTO is loading their bikes with the same premium components as motorcycles costing twice as much. You know those KYB forks and brake components that make premium bikes so smooth and responsive? The ones that motorcycle magazines always rave about when they review expensive Japanese and European bikes? CFMOTO just puts them on their standard models like it's no big deal. This doesn't make business sense at first glance. Premium components cost serious money, KYB suspension systems aren't cheap to source, and quality brake components command premium prices from suppliers. So, how can CFMOTO sell bikes with KYB suspension for thousands less than competitors who use similar parts? The 675NK comes with KYB 41mm forks right out of the box. These are the same brand you'll find on much more expensive Japanese bikes that cost $8,000 or $9,000. We're talking about the same manufacturer, the same quality control standards, and comparable performance characteristics. The difference is CFMOTO packages them on a bike that sells for half the price of its competitors. They source known brand hardware like KYB suspension and J-Hwan or Brembo-level braking components on higher spec models, not generic knockoffs. The names matter to riders and reviewers. Many models use the same brand components and comparable specs to premium rivals. You get similar stopping power, feel at the lever, and reliability. Even the electronics package is loaded with features that usually cost extra on other bikes. Full 5-inch TFT displays that show everything from gear position to fuel consumption in bright, clear graphics. Dual-channel ABS systems that prevent wheel lockup during emergency braking. Traction control that keeps the rear wheel from spinning out when you hit a patch of gravel or wet pavement. Multiple ride modes that change the bike's personality with the push of a button. Most manufacturers charge hundreds or thousands extra for these features. The 700MT and 800MTX adventure bikes pack fully adjustable suspension that lets you dial in compression and rebound damping for different riding conditions. Switchable ABS and traction control systems that you can turn off for off-road riding when you want the wheels to slip. Plus 4G connectivity and over-the-air updates that keep your bike's software current without visiting a dealer. These are flagship-level features on bikes priced like entry-level models. Most riders assume budget bikes mean budget components. You expect cheaper suspension that doesn't work as well, brake systems that feel spongy, and electronics that glitch out randomly. But CFMOTO is sourcing from the same suppliers as premium manufacturers. They're not cutting corners on the parts that actually matter for performance and safety. Here's how they pull it off. CFMOTO achieves cost advantages through 3 key factors: high production volumes, direct supplier relationships, and their manufacturing base in China. Because CFMOTO runs high-volume factories and long supplier relationships, including an OEM partner role with KTM and Pierer, they can buy premium components more cheaply and put them on lower-cost retail models. Their manufacturing scale helps drive costs down. When you're producing hundreds of thousands of motorcycles per year, component suppliers offer better pricing than they give smaller manufacturers. CFMOTO leverages their volume to negotiate quality parts at lower costs, then passes those savings directly to customers instead of padding their profit margins. CFMOTO typically offers 2 years bumper-to-bumper with a 3-year powertrain warranty, and some markets, vehicles, or dealers extend that coverage even further. This warranty backing shows they're confident in their component choices and build quality. But premium parts and solid warranties are only part of what makes CFMOTO different. What really sets them apart is something most people never even notice until they need it. The network nobody saw coming. CFMOTO has been quietly building something massive behind the scenes. While everyone was focused on their bikes and wondering how they could offer such good value, CFMOTO was solving the biggest problem that kills new motorcycle brands: service and support. You can build the best bike in the world, but if riders can't get it serviced or find parts when something breaks, your brand is dead in the water. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say they'd love to try a new motorcycle brand, but they're worried about finding a mechanic who knows how to work on it? Or what happens when you need a replacement part and nobody stocks it locally? Most new brands fail because they focus all their energy on building cool bikes and forget that customers need ongoing support for years after the sale. CFMOTO figured this out early and did something nobody expected. They built the service network first, then pushed for sales. CFMOTO has built a network of over 3,000 dealers across more than 100 countries, and they're still expanding. That's not an accident or something that happened naturally over time. It's a strategic masterpiece that took years of planning and serious investment to pull off. Just look at what they're doing in markets like the UK. They're adding around 30 new dealers in a single year. But here's the smart part. They partnered with Pure Mobility for shared distribution and service expertise instead of trying to figure everything out from scratch. Pure Mobility already knows how to handle logistics, parts distribution, and dealer relationships in European markets. CFMOTO gets instant access to proven systems and experienced people. Their dealer training programs go way deeper than most people realize. CFMOTO technicians learn TFT diagnostics, app integration, and electronic systems to support modern connected bikes. They get trained on advanced engine management troubleshooting that covers the computerized systems controlling fuel injection, ignition timing, and emissions. The warranty backing this network includes 2 years bumper-to-bumper coverage and 3 years on powertrain components. This approach is totally different from how most new brands handle expansion. The typical pattern goes like this: build some bikes, find a few dealers who are willing to take a chance, start selling, then scramble to add more dealers and support when sales pick up. Customers become beta testers who deal with poor service and parts shortages while the brand figures things out. CFMOTO flipped that script completely. They built the infrastructure before pushing for massive sales growth. When a customer buys a CFMOTO bike today, they get access to a service network that's already established and trained to handle whatever problems might come up. They've prioritized dealers and training, but in some regions, owners still report service delays and parts back orders while the network matures. Their dealer network covers urban areas where most motorcycle sales happen, plus rural regions where adventure riders need support for long-distance touring. Mountain towns, desert communities, coastal areas. CFMOTO made sure riders can find qualified service almost anywhere they might travel with their bikes. This network foundation changes everything about how CFMOTO competes with established brands. They're not just selling bikes anymore, they're offering the complete ownership experience that keeps customers happy for years. But having great service support only matters if the bikes themselves can actually compete with what Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and Suzuki are offering. Head-to-head, when CFMOTO beats the Big Four. Let's see what happens when CFMOTO bikes go head-to-head with Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and Suzuki. On paper, the Japanese Big Four should dominate every comparison. They've got decades of experience, massive R&D budgets, and brand recognition that money can't buy. But the real-world results are pretty shocking when you actually compare specs, features, and prices side by side. In the adventure segment, CFMOTO's 800 MTX is commonly quoted at roughly 95 horsepower and appears significantly more powerful than the Versys 650 class rivals that make mid-60s to 70 horsepower, with contemporary electronics and a longer warranty offered in some markets. That power difference is something you'll feel every time you twist the throttle. The CFMOTO also comes standard with a full TFT display, multiple ride modes, and switchable traction control, while competitors charge extra for most of these features. The 675 NK Naked bike delivers strong middleweight performance with a lighter chrome moly frame that gives it a real edge over rivals like Kawasaki's Z650. Both bikes target the same rider, but the CFMOTO offers more power and weighs less thanks to its advanced frame construction. That horsepower advantage is huge when you're merging onto highways or passing slower traffic. CFMOTO's retro-styled 700 CLX Heritage packs modern electronics and significantly undercuts competitors on price. While established brands charge premium prices for their heritage-styled bikes, the CLX Heritage gives you that classic look with contemporary performance and reliability. You get the vintage aesthetics without sacrificing modern conveniences like digital displays, ABS brakes, and fuel injection systems. The pattern keeps repeating across multiple segments. Many review summaries boil it down to most of the performance for a lot less money, which is close to how reviewers frame CFMOTO's value proposition. This isn't just marketing talk either. Independent dyno tests show their power figures are generally accurate, and real-world reliability reports confirm their bikes hold up to regular use without major problems. These aren't just spec sheet victories either. Riders are actually making the switch and posting about their experiences online. Motorcycle forums are full of threads where people compare their new CFMOTO bikes to previous Japanese bikes they owned. Most report similar or better performance, fewer problems than expected, and significantly lower total cost of ownership when you factor in purchase price and maintenance expenses. The adventure riding community especially embraces CFMOTO's value proposition. Long-distance touring puts serious demands on motorcycles, and riders need reliable machines that won't leave them stranded hundreds of miles from home. When CFMOTO adventure bikes prove themselves on cross-country trips and international expeditions, word spreads quickly through riding groups and online communities. Sport bike riders are coming around too, despite being traditionally loyal to Japanese brands. The combination of race-proven technology and aggressive pricing appeals to younger riders who want performance but can't afford premium prices. Track day enthusiasts report that CFMOTO sport bikes handle well and respond positively to modifications and tuning. Spec sheets and independent reviews show CFMOTO matches or beats rivals on features and price in many segments. But long-term owner feedback is mixed in some markets, especially for ORV and UTV warranty experiences. So the value case comes with an asterisk depending on where you buy and who services the bike. So if you value spec for dollar and modern electronics, CFMOTO is hard to ignore. If long-term resale and known dealer support in your area matter most, factor that into the decision. But CFMOTO's growing success suggests they're winning enough of these comparisons to force the entire industry to take notice and respond. The future that's already here. What comes next could reshape the entire motorcycle landscape. CFMOTO isn't stopping at challenging the Big Four. They're preparing to redefine what motorcycles can be. While established brands slowly adapt to change, CFMOTO is pushing toward bigger engines and full electrification. They're investing in electrics through Zeho with new AE8 and AE6 models shown publicly, and pursuing bigger ICE platforms too with their V.04 V4 engine concept. They aren't just chasing cheap bikes, they're scaling range and technology. Industry forecasts point to a roughly $50 billion market by 2030, and CFMOTO is positioning to capture share. Race-proven tech, heavy R&D, aggressive dealer expansion, and value pricing make CFMOTO the brand to watch. But buyer experiences vary, so know your local support and warranty coverage before you buy. If you're skeptical, tell us which model you'd want a long-term test on. We'll read the comments and base future deep dives on what you pick.